Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Starkillr Based Podcast with me, your host, Selina Starkillr. On today's episode, we have the lovely and fabulous Nellie Void from Florida. Nellie Void is the gender fluid glamour Gnat. Nellie makes magic with the trifecta of burlesque, drag, and cosplay. In the past, they have also done circus and aerial acrobatics, along with partner acrobatics, pole dance, and even were a painter for a little while. After seeing their first burlesque show in 2016, Nellie Void made burlesque the center of their universe and finally debuted in April 2023 with the Burlesque Conservatory of Orlando. Their acts are a classic blueprint with inspiration from favorite fictional characters such as Sailor Venus, Alice in Wonderland, Starfire, Shigo, and more. They also have experience in the circus arts like aerial silks, lyra, pole, and partner acrobatics. You can follow Nellie Void on Instagram and TikTok at Nellie Void. That's NellieVoid. And you can catch them performing with the Conservatory again in September. They are Florida's gender fluid glamour Gnat because they are here to remind you that we say gay and the gender binary is null and void. Please welcome Nellie Void.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be here. I think it's been I think a year now since we first met in Puxapunny, the virtual class.
Yeah, mixed
Yes, to
pucks.
now.
Yeah.
Yes, mixed Puxapunny. Yeah, until now. So it's like so cool that it's like following each other on, social media on our burlesque journeys and getting to this interview is that's so cool. I don't know, it's really cool that I'm here with you. So
Yeah, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to help you share your story with everyone and learn more about you beyond just seeing you on Instagram. I'm glad you mentioned that we've been like following each other
Mhm.
because it actually has been very, very cool to see your whole transformation on
Thank
Instagram,
you.
and just watching your little not your little, your very large burlesque glow up has been awesome. And even just like getting your new bio in from a few months ago, seeing the progress from back then when we decided to meet to now is just like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you over
Oh,
here.
thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah, it's been really cool to watch your journey. So I'm really excited to learn more about like the details within
Mhm.
it. All right, cool. So let's get started here. Before we ask some questions, I'll give you some context on Nellie. Nellie Void makes magic with the trifecta of burlesque, drag, and cosplay. In the past, they have also done circus and aerial acrobatics, along with partner acrobatics, pole dance, and even painting for a while. So we have lots to discuss. I'm so excited. So, Miss Nellie Void, is it okay if I call you Miss?
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
said,
miss or mix. I'm gender fluid, so it depends on the day. But I'm very much feeling my like hyper femme, like Shigo goth era right now. So
okay, cool. So I will call you Miss then, Miss Nellie Void. How did you get started in burlesque?
oh my goodness. It was 2016. Oh my gosh. Very, very cold night in Florida, unusual cold night in Florida in 2016. And I was actually at a concert but by myself. It's really sad, but I was at a concert by myself because like none of my friends wanted to go see. It was this band in this moment, which I know a lot of burlesque people are super into. We hail the goddess Maria Brink, and my friend texted me and was like, "Hey, I'm at this club down the street. There's a burlesque show. Do you want to come with us?" I had no idea what burlesque was at the time. I had no idea what club this was. I was just like, yeah, sure. I'm over here getting anxiety at this concert, so peace out. So so I left, went to this bar, and it was this hole in the wall like gothic bar, but it also had hookah, arcade games. It was a little bit of everything. I know it was just a very interesting little like I guess like industrial steampunk. It just had all that vibe to it. And we saw this show, and let me tell you, my jaw was on the floor the entire time. And like my little gender fluid, gay, everything little heart was just fluttering over
Oh,
everybody I saw on that stage. And actually, I was still kind of like a little conservative at the time. There was one performer that like went full frontal nude, and I was shocked, but
what?
then but she had a body similar to mine, and I was like, oh, I can do that. Like people around me were just losing it, and I was like, people actually want this? Like people like this? First of all, this is legal? Like I was like, I had so many thoughts going on in my head during this like whole show. And I mean, and that's actually where I met a ton of performers. I met Delicate Flower, who's out in Gainesville, and the Inferno, Lila J. Blue, who I still have a showgirl crush on to this day. Oh my gosh. And they really just everything they did, their movements and everything affected me so much with my background like in dance that I knew I had to get involved somehow. So since that was when I was more doing circus, that was like 2016, 2017 was my really heavy circus, pole, everything years. So that was the group I was with at that show. Turns out they also knew a friend that did burlesque and drag, Jaden Starr. I just want to do a big shout out to Jaden Starr because they were like the circus coach down here in Florida. They had a circus school, everyone went to them. They produced incredible shows. And they actually did an interview with Victor Devon on the We Burlesque podcast. Highly recommend that episode. But yeah, so that's when I found out they did burlesque, and they were just like, "Oh, if you want to get started, here's like all these resources I can give you." And I was like, "Okay." And then I just didn't do it.
Oh.
I just didn't do it. I was like, "Well, I'm gonna focus on, the circus stuff right now because burlesque seems like more intense than circus in a weird way because it was like
Mm.
full, I don't, it was just like you have to be, sexy and like pleasuring the audience while also still staying in this character. Meanwhile, in circus, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go do this flip in this silk, and everyone's gonna go, ooh, wow, or like I'm just gonna go do a split, and everyone's gonna go lose their mind.
Mm.
So, so that I just stuck to that for a while, but I always kept it in, the back of my mind. So I would watch, of course, the burlesque Christina Aguilera, which you know what, honestly, right here, right now, I'm all for that movie. Okay, I'm all for that movie, and I know that movie was fell behind. I told you if I moved, that thing was gonna fall, and that's okay. We'll just leave it at that. I tried. So now
The
you guys
background
are
was like, oh.
yeah. I told you the space between this makeup desk and that was gonna, but that's fine. We'll just leave. I'm not even gonna bother
Oh,
anymore.
that's so fantastic.
You can keep that in. I don't care. That's really funny. Um, I know it's like a really long-winded, answer, but it's just because it really is quite a journey over those years. But yeah, oh yeah, the burlesque movie, yeah, with Christina Aguilera, like I'm just gonna say it, like watch that damn movie. Just watch it. Like
Yeah, I mean, so many people in the burlesque scene, and for those of you who are maybe listening instead of watching, Nellie had this beautiful black sparkly background with a lime green boa on it, and it just fell down as soon as Nellie mentioned the movie Burlesque, and it was hysterical. So make sure you watch the video at some point for
yeah,
that
I'll say
moment.
it disagree with me. It was like, girl, no, we're not gonna talk about that.
It was
I
like,
just
I
got
can't believe you just said that.
yeah, honestly, yeah, I just fainted because it was like, oh, the amount of burlesque people that are gonna hear that opinion and go, no, don't say that.
Right? Yeah. And
Oh
for
my
those who don't know, maybe don't know listening, the movie Burlesque with Cher
yes, yeah.
and Christina Aguilera it's a fantastic movie, but a lot of us who actually do burlesque feel like it may not perfectly encapsulate what it's really like to be a burlesque
Hmm.
dancer. And it kind of is everyone's first foray into burlesque art sometimes. So it gets made fun of a lot here, but I agree with you. I think it is an important movie, especially with how popular it got. And especially if you don't know anything about burlesque, that's a really nice, like kind of safe, silly, campy movie
Oh
to
yeah.
see what the world is like. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. You can't beat, I will take my boa though. You
Yeah.
can't beat like Cher and Stanley Tucci together in that movie. Like, oh my gosh. Sorry,
Yeah.
because that was like part of my, my journey was watching that movie. And I was like, I may not be able to sing like her, but I'm sure as hell gonna dance like her. Like,
Mhm.
what was it? Wagon Wheel Watusi? You got it, bitch.
Oh
I'm
my
a
God, yes.
Gnat, and I'm like, I'm surprised. I'm actually mad that in all the years that I've been like watching and studying burlesque, I have not seen a single person do even a parody of that movie or even do Wagon Wheel Watusi in their own like burlesque style. I think that's how much it's been shamed in the burlesque
Yeah.
community. So I guess someone's gonna have to take this idea from me because someone has to do it.
Maybe it's got to be you, Nellie.
I know now. I guess now it has to be me. I gotta take the burden of my own dreams, you know. But oh my gosh. Also sorry, like I said, and I know I told you I was gonna do a lot of shout outs, but
No
this
worries.
show
Yeah.
was made by Goldie LaVie in Orlando. They go was a Golden Hour costume, I believe, is their Etsy.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I was such a picky customer. I was like, well, I want one that's black light, but I really like these three colors. And they like went so far out of their way to get like samples and show me what it looked like in different lights. And I was like, you're literally the best. I know I've been the pickiest customer. But yeah, so
That's
anyway, so back,
awesome. Yeah, shout out to them and make sure you
yeah.
check out their Etsy if you're in the market for a new boa because
Oh
this one
yeah.
is fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I know I
Yeah.
can't. Yep, this will be, I can talk about it later, but this will definitely be coming up in my new September classic burlesque act. So,
Yay. So
um,
exciting.
yeah, I'm so sorry to go off track about getting it started into
No,
burlesque.
that's you're doing exactly what we want to do is just like talk about burlesque and like our journey through it. So there's no like going off the rails or anything. It's just whatever. We're talking
Oh,
about whatever.
cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because that this yeah, I definitely tangent like oh that should definitely be part of my tagline, like Queen of Tangents for sure. You will not get a straight conversation with me. I mean, you won't get straight anything from me, but definitely not a straight conversation. Oh my goodness.
I love
Um,
that.
right. But what was it? Oh yeah, so yeah, I did circus a lot. 2018, 2019, I actually I broke off a little bit from doing the circus stuff, got more back into yoga, but I was also, met my man at the time. So I was doing a lot of things, a lot of just travel with my man and just really enjoying life. And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
2020 along. And of course, we were all home and everything. So I was looking up just all kinds of virtual burlesque classes. So a few that I did was actually with Vera Valentina. She's from the Philly area, but I think she's in like Texas now. I was just obsessed with her style and her just like her aesthetic and everything. And she really got me on to classic burlesque with her dance classes. I watched her costuming videos. I mean, everything. I just ate up her burlesque vlogs. Literally
Yeah.
treated them like my, what is it, like the Bachelorette series. Every night I would turn it on and be like, what's the next episode?
Yeah.
What's everything about her showgirl vlogs. I kept wanting it. I just kept
Mm.
wanting that showgirl life. And then when I went through all of her material, I moved to the Philadelphia School of Burlesque with Ginger Lee. Excuse me. And yeah, just they offered so many like live virtual online classes. So they had people in the studio, and they did series with like BB Bardot and Gigi Holiday. Oh my gosh, there was another one they had, and I can't remember their name. I'm so sorry. But each like class I did over that first, year of COVID was just got me more and more interested and more in love with my body. And I was just like, I have to make this happen when COVID is over. Hence, it's still not over for any of those listening.
Yeah.
I just got an email from our, national health, whatever, that's like, oh, so let's talk about the rise in COVID-19 cases. So for those of you that are like, COVID's over now. No, it's not. But um
Yeah. It just feels like it should be.
oh God, it should be. It should be. I started wearing a mask again at the gym because I was like, it's already gross enough being around all you nasty, sweaty,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, unfortunately, I go to one of those gyms where like the guys still think that creating primal noises every time they pick something up is like a mating call.
Mm,
It's like,
yeah.
no, honey, you're just making me put my music louder and louder to where I will be sending you my hearing aid bill in the next 10 years because I'm trying to avoid listening to you. But Yeah, so once I did that, yep, that was when I started taking mixed Plexipleni's class. I'm so sorry. That name, for some reason, my tongue is like, let's add an extra L in the name for no reason. Um, but yeah, and then that was when, or sorry, I think it was, yeah, it was 2021, May of 2020. Oh gosh, no, I'm so sorry. What year are we in? 2023. Good Lord.
Right,
What
the
is time
time warp
anymore?
is real.
Yeah, I know. And I'm trying to think about when I officially started like the journey, like committed. Like I've read all the books. I've read the Dita Von Teese. I've read about Lily St. Cyr. I mean, I went back to watch all the classic videos, Sally Rand, with her fans. Like I was like, I have to do the ethics and the history of burlesque before I even get started. And that was actually what BB Bardot's class is on, because look, if you don't know her, like look her up. She's like I think either writing a dissertation or has written one about the shake dancers that
Oh
were basically,
yeah.
yeah, like the burlesque starters, in America, in New York. And
Mm-hmm.
I never even knew that stuff until I took her class. So I was like, okay, so now I'm entering burlesque, which kind of does have its base or tradition into BIPOC, communities. So how am I going to
Yeah.
make sure I do this correctly and represent it, as me, to where
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing anything to hurt anyone on accident, or, take
Yeah.
accountability. So she was also a really big contributor to my journey just because of the education. So no, sorry, it was May of 2022 when I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to MegaCon. I'm making this Moon Knight cosplay. I'm just going to make my new Instagram account with my official burlesque name, and we're just going to go from there. Let me tell you, the list of burlesque names that I had was outlandish. Outlandish. Because I was still so in love with drag at the time that I was like, I still want to have kind of a fun, catchy name
Mhm.
that it kind of refers itself to drag in a way. Like
Mm.
Trixie Mattel, because
Yeah.
that's her Barbie,
Yeah.
her Barbie thing. And um excuse me, there was another drag queen that I was thinking of that I was like, that is such a great name because it's like a, what is it called? Like an entendre, like it plays on itself.
A double entendre.
Yeah, and I totally just lost it. Oh my gosh. But you know what I mean.
It'll come to you later. Well,
It'll
you
come
can
to
pop it in, be like, I remembered.
I know. And I know and I feel bad because I feel like you're already gonna like that's part of the next question is how'd you get your name? So I get
Yes,
I'm like taking
yes.
over your job here. Let me just scroll down to the next question.
She's like, so then let me just answer all of your questions,
Yeah.
which is totally fine. I was like, this is a great segue, honestly, when you were
Okay,
talking
great.
about it. So no worries on my end.
Oh, that's fine. So we kind of in the past, 20 minutes have answered how I got started in burlesque.
Sometimes
So
it's a long road, you know? You
yeah.
got to take all the time you need because honestly,
Mhm.
that I feel like that first question is what everyone who wants to do burlesque or like people like even us when we first
Mhm.
started, like wanting to do burlesque and not knowing where to go. Luckily, I mean, unluckily slash luckily, the
Mhm.
pandemic did make things more accessible for us all to take classes virtually and gain like all this crazy knowledge. But
Mhm.
I feel like that's the number one question I get at gigs and stuff is like, how do I do what you do? So the more information you
Mhm.
can give us on how to how you got started specifically is great. So I want to thank you for all of that
Oh,
information.
yes. Oh yeah, just and bothering local people.
Yeah.
Like I am relentless.
Mm.
I I went to so many shows, especially once I guess like COVID regulations started relaxing and shows
Mhm.
were going from virtual back into person. I was just relentless. Like paycheck would hit the account and I'd be like, how many burlesque shows can I afford with this paycheck? Great. And I would just go local. And I say like local, like I will travel 2, 3 hours out sometimes to go see a show. Like if I have a friend to stay
Yeah.
with or whatever, I'm like, okay, let's go see a show, especially like really big productions. Oh, like
Mm.
Orlando, if you ever look it up, the Marshall Ellis Theater, wow, they do huge productions over there.
Mm.
So I was going down there as much as I could
Mm.
to see as many shows as possible and just talk to performers. And I wasn't really much of like, can I get a photo with you? Because I don't know why I get so nervous asking people for photos.
Me
I just
too.
do. Oh my, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like a celebrity could walk by me and I'd be like, hi. And that's
Yeah.
it. I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not even no like
Yeah.
look how bad my like I guess whatever you want to call it celebrity anxiety is or whatever. I was at the Hostess City Hoedown, which for those of you who don't know is like a Savannah burlesque festival, Savannah, Georgia, and it's also like a competition
Mm.
for I think they call it Hostess Supreme, I think is the
Oh,
title.
very cool.
Right? So it's kind
Yeah.
of in my backyard. And this year I was like, I finally get to go. And there were so many people there. Bella Sin was one of the
Yeah.
headliners who I'm also obsessed with.
Yeah.
I'm wearing her blue lip right now. Or
Oh,
they're
cool.
and Bella Sin and let me see. Edith Meow. Oh, that's what it was. It was yeah,
Oh,
like it's one of
yeah.
the names is like Edith
That's
Meow. Like, come
great.
on. That is such a great name. Oh, like they
Edith
deserve to keep that.
Meow.
That should be like trademarked. Like that can no one else can ever take that name. Like it is
Yeah.
not a legacy name. It is stay so take me out,
It's
right?
so good.
And but one of the other performers was Barbarella Brown. Again, I
Nice.
think they're Gainesville based. And I was so excited to meet them. We're both Virgos. We both, are in the witchy area. And I've
Mm.
also seen them in a couple shows. And I was just so excited to meet them at the after party. So we're at Club One in Savannah, which we're like downstairs, which Club One has its own history with the Lady Chablis. For those of you, again, big drag people, or those who are just getting started, look up the Lady Chablis, Savannah, Georgia. She's got a whole story, whole background with that city and that club. So we're
Mm.
downstairs and everyone's filtering, from the festival and the winner herself, Chacha Nova, which we've been following each other on social media for a while, and I knew she was going to be there. I was so excited that she won. For some reason, I could walk up to her and be like, "Oh my God, you did amazing! Like, I'm so grateful were able to come down and compete. Like, what an
Mm.
honor, what a pleasure!" And we were able to kind of talk.
Mhm.
But then Bella Sin and Barbarella like walk past me, and I'm just
Yeah.
like I'm literally behind my partner hiding.
Yeah.
And my partner is like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Do you see the really pretty person with like the red hair and the really nice eyebrows? Their name is Bella Sin. And like, I really look up to them and I want to go say hi." And he's like, "Well, let's just go say hi." And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
And then like, Barbara Brown's like taking photos at like this photo area. And he was like, "Well, do you want to go take a photo with them?" And I'm like, "No."
Oh.
So he just looks at me and he goes, "I'm just gonna go march up and say hi," abandons me,
Oh
goes right,
no.
and is like, "Hi, this is my partner, Nellie Void. They want to meet you." And I'm
Oh.
mortified.
Yeah, you're like, no, this is the worst.
The
I
worst.
would have done it myself.
The literal worst. But of course, I got over myself and I hugged her and of course, and she was like, "Oh my God, Nellie." And I'm like, "Yeah, we follow each other. It's so good to meet you in person." And I cannot tell you how many times like, "I'm so sorry for my anxiety. I'm so sorry for my anxiety." I just kept apologizing for my anxiety, my social anxiety so bad. And thankfully they were just so graceful about it.
Yeah,
But
Bella seems
bad
so
it is.
cool. That's so funny. I feel like we all do that, especially if you're like empathetic and you're like, well, I don't want
Mhm.
to, what if they're busy or like they don't want to meet anybody? So we just like won't ask and miss out on this opportunity to, meet our idols and stuff. So if
Mhm.
you're listening out there and you're like us, who maybe doesn't necessarily speak up when you want to take a picture with somebody, just do it. You only live one life.
Yeah, I know. I was like telling myself that, but like, we know how it is after a show, like adrenaline is high, you're hot. You got like either tunnel vision or like tunnel hearing. You don't know what's going on anymore. You're just trying to either get your free drink at the bar
Yeah.
or you're trying to like find your friends or whatever. So part of me was like, well, I don't want to interrupt them, from trying to find their people or interrupt their celebrations cuz and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. So same thing with the actual producer of the show, Rita Delavane. I mean, I've also been following them for a while, and they do such great work in the burlesque
Mm.
community. And I think they moved to Tulsa, I think is where they moved.
Oh, wow.
So, but same thing, like they were just walking around doing their thing, and I was like, I should go say hi. I should go say hi. And like, and even like Delicate Flower again was
Yeah.
there, and we were chatting up, and even she was like, she's so friendly. I feel like she could have just like walked me up to them and been like, "Hey, this is Nellie. Great to
Yeah.
meet you." But I just didn't bother. I was still hiding in the back of this basement, just admiring from the distance.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just as fun to just be like, wow, I saw that person like out in the wild today.
I don't have any proof, but I saw them.
Yeah, yeah. You don't always need proof, you know, sometimes you can
Yeah.
have just like a normal person interaction.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Hmm.
So let me ask you, you mentioned you had this long list of names.
Oh yes.
How did
Hmm.
you choose your ultimately choose your name Nellie Void, and
Hmm.
if there is a persona that goes along with it, how did you choose that as well?
Oh yes. Well, it's kind of interesting because I was in the car when it happened. I'm definitely a car thinker. Like
Mm,
I'm just gonna drive. I don't know where I'm gonna end up. I'm just gonna drive though.
yeah.
And I was kind of going through like personality traits or different types of characters I wanted to really embody on the stage. And and again, I was just thinking about those like double entendre names, like what's something really catchy that I can do that would fit for both drag and for, burlesque. And
Mm.
I just kept thinking, and I think I went on like a name generator website as well, and I
Yeah.
like before or after driving, and I was just clicking through names. But
Mm.
really, the nickname or Nelly kind of is like a nickname for my like original like legal name. So I kind
Mm.
of already had that. So I was like, all right, so I have Nelly. And then I was just playing with, what could I do with Nelly? Could I do like Nelly, I don't know, Demure or Nelly like, I don't know, Vaughn something, those classic
Yeah.
kind of names. And then I know this sounds kind of like, I guess, cliche to say, but it kind of came out of thin air when it was like Nellie Void after the play on Null and Void. And I was like, oh, wait a second. And I kind of played with that. And it was kind of perfect in a way because there's a tattoo I've always wanted to get that says you have no power over me. And
Ooh.
right. And that's kind of what like null and void is like by a judge or somebody kind of because it kind of goes in the legal system a little bit. If someone says this is null and void is no longer legal or doesn't hold any power or whatever, it just kind of it's out the door. So I was like, okay, so those kind of tie into each other. So if I can empower myself as Nellie Void, you have no power over me. I'm not allowing the audience to have power over me, or I'm not allowing any external circumstances to have power over me.
Mm.
That's the persona that I kind of want to embody. So that was when I had that name, and I really stuck to it. But it almost wasn't Nellie Void.
Ooh.
It was tight, and I sent it to a few close friends. But there was another one, and I'm okay to say it if someone wants to take it because it's still cute. But at a bar that my partner and I would go to, there's a larceny whiskey that I really, really
Oh,
like. But I
yeah.
really like it mixed with honey. And I don't know why, but those
Ooh.
bars would give me looks every time I ordered it. And I'm like, why is
What?
it that weird to order whiskey and honey? You have Jack's Tennessee
Yeah,
honey
with
whiskey.
honey in it. Like, what?
Why are you giving me that face? So I would order it, and over like the winter months, it's really nice. And then I sat there and I was like, ooh, larceny and honey. I was like, that would be a really cute name as well. And surprisingly enough, a lot of my friends also really liked the larceny name. And I guess just out of spite, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do Nelly Void instead.
Yeah.
Like,
I get that vibe. I feel that
yeah,
way sometimes too. It's like, that's what you want? Well, I am gonna pick the other
I know.
one.
And it's funny because right before we started recording, I was listening to like, I don't know if you ever heard of it, the I've Had It podcast.
Mm-mm.
I think they're based in no, they're based in Oklahoma, and it's these like two ladies. I don't really know their whole history because I just started it, but
Yeah.
it's just a podcast about ranting about like, have you had it or could you hit it, kind of situation.
Gotcha.
Literally, the episode was them talking about they're like, oh, I've had it when people like ask for your advice or your opinion on something, and they don't even take it, and I'm like, listen, I didn't need this call out right. was like,
You're
that is
like, who? Me?
because I did. I sent my friends like all these names, and then they're like, "Why like this?" And then I would make the list shorter, and I'm like, "Well, I kind of like these instead." And then they'd be like, "Well, Larsing's my favorite," and I went, "No,
Yeah.
sorry guys." But now they all really appreciate and love it. I'm so very happy and supportive to have such a close friendship group that has really, really supported my burlesque and drag like journey. Wow, like I was so nervous when I started that new Instagram account and I was like, I don't know what friends are going to unfollow me and I
Yeah.
have lost some friends especially over the drag. Wow.
Mhm. I bet.
If you don't mind me talking about
Yeah,
that,
go for it. Tell us more.
drag controversy. First of all, as an AFAB queen or assigned female at birth, some people call us bio queens, femme queens, whatever.
Mhm.
That I feel like it is so hard to get a booking as a female
Yeah.
drag queen.
Hmm.
It is
Hmm.
especially around the area that I'm currently in, I have not heard of femme queens and bio queens being booked out here.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Hmm.
So it's really hard. And when I was, starting to, of course, with our governor, I don't mean anyway, he just makes me want to vomit everywhere. Um, when
We're
he was
talking
coming,
about the Florida governor, in case
yeah,
anybody,
I have to
I'm
say
not
it,
sure
guys.
if we
Florida
mentioned Florida,
governor.
but yeah,
I guess we could talk
Florida
about any
governor,
of the governors. None of them are good, but
right?
especially the Florida one. For those of you that are not watching on YouTube, I'm actively throwing up. I'm gagging. And so when he was doing the whole like we don't say gay bill, and and then he was like, oh, well now we're gonna shut down any venue that has drag shows that are because they're sexualized or whatever. We can't do, um, we can't read to the kids in drag, all this other stuff. I literally had friends on, my private Facebook page that were like agreeing with this and all
Mhm.
this, yeah, and surprisingly some of them are in our industry. And I
I
was really
believe it.
shocked.
Yeah.
Really? I,
Yeah,
oh,
unfortunately, I believe it. I know. I know. It shouldn't be like a thing, but I've now seen enough to be like, oh, I see. I
yeah,
see.
yep. And I was like, goodbye. Like,
Yeah.
I just unfriend, block. I don't care. I'm not even going to have a conversation. One of them tried to have a conversation with me.
Mm,
I didn't out myself as a drag queen to this person because, again, it's my private page. And
yeah.
I was just like, the fact that you're more concerned about a performer's genitals while they're trying to read to children says more about you
Right?
than does anybody else.
Yeah. Like,
If I
why are they so obsessed with who has what? Like, what? And they're
like
the only ones that are obsessed with it. I don't understand.
honestly, like I like if I had drag queens as teachers in
Mm.
like elementary, middle school, high school, the way that I would have soared. Oh my
Right?
gosh. Even in
Yeah.
college, like if I was more, if I knew more about my identity now that I did back then, I'd be showing up to class in drag. Are you kidding me? To make those like boring auditorium classes more interesting, I would be like,
Yeah.
whatever, I'm just gonna show up in this or drag or whatever, and people are gonna have a blast and because they're
Yeah.
welcoming and whatever. So and actually, because of this whole, we can't really do drag in public. It's really weird. It's kind of a gray area in Florida with this whole drag in public, not drag in public. I haven't
Mm.
really done it as often anymore
Yeah.
because even though I, again, am AFAB, I've had people in public mistaking me as a man and try to make comment towards me. And when I start talking, and then they're like, "Well, you ain't got the voice of a gay man." It's like, yeah, because I'm not.
Oh my gosh. Right?
Then they're like 10 times more confused because then it's like, well, now are you just the hooker that I see over here off Main Street or whatever, and then it's not even it's not even worth the energy to explain to them.
That's so bizarre, but like
for that.
Yeah, I understand it because when I mean, I don't understand fully the entire struggle of trying to be an AFAB queen or being a drag queen in general. But I do understand the struggle of being different in public spaces and having like the general public comment, say stupid things about you or like make weird assumptions. Um, so
Yeah.
it's just like so sad to hear that like you can't even go out with some makeup and an outfit on and like just exist in a public space in this state because of what people in power have decided and like what, uneducated
Mhm.
people have decided.
Like, you know who we need more of in this world? We need more like gas station and like convenience store clerks because they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they see it
They don't,
all.
they see it all. And I feel like they're like our strongest backbone and our
Yeah.
because they could fit in any job and handle whatever. Like the least
Hmm.
time I ever feel judged is when I'm in a gas station. I know they're judging me still, but they're
Yeah.
not and they don't care. They're not gonna, I, it's cool. You could be there 2 a.m.,
Yeah.
boxers, big t-shirt. I got my wig cap on, you know,
Yeah.
mascara is coming down the face, lips are like half smeared, I got glitter falling out my bra
Yeah.
somewhere, whatever. Maybe a pasty fell, who knows? And you know what? I'm gonna go get my strawberry chocolate Kit Kat and my Coke
Mm.
Icy, and they're
Mhm.
gonna be boop, bye.
Yep.
That's okay. They don't need to ask me, hey, how are you? They don't have to tell me good night. They don't have to do anything.
Right.
Just check
Yeah.
out, leave.
Yeah.
And they've seen it all. I feel like they are the backbone of our society when it comes to like just employment and non-judgment.
Yeah, honestly, shout out to all the gas station and convenience workers because y'all really do help the
Mhm.
world go round for sure. And
Oh yeah.
especially late at night when we're starving and need a snack because we're tired and cranky and overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, oh, that's great. So what has been your favorite gig memory so far?
Oh my goodness. It would have to be my debut one for sure. Just because I am I'm guilty of being an event timer, as what NPR likes to classify as someone who runs times by when they're going to get to the event, not like when the event actually starts. So like
I didn't know that's a thing. That is
oh,
totally me too. An event timer?
I it's I have a whole podcast episode. My dad called me one day and he's like, "Listen, you and your mom are event timers. You're not analog timers. You're event timers. You're not on time to anything because it's all going to depend on when you want to get to the event." And I was like, "You are so wrong." And then of course my partner is going to knock on the door and be like, "Dinner was at 6:30." And I'm sitting here with my baking powder like, "What time is it?"
Yeah.
6:35. Okay.
Oh.
You know, like so so for my debut, when I tell you, as soon as the producer said like, "Oh, you're going to arrive at like 6:30," I was like, "I'm arriving at 6."
Hmm.
And they're like, "Well, no, we don't get the keys to the theater until 6:30." No, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Wig is on, oh shit box in my lap, keys, like I'm ready to go at 6 o'clock because
Hmm.
I know if I don't, I will literally be there at 7 and you guys will be so mad at me. So
Right. Trick yourself into getting there early.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was. I had that wig on since 2:30 in that afternoon. I was not having it. I was so nervous. I was like, I kept, oh my gosh, I was doing last minute, you know how it is, costume things. I was trying to E6000 this and I was trying to sew on that. And I was still trying to decide, well, I don't know, what about this glove and this glove? And yeah. So that whole, it was with the Burlesque Conservatory in Orlando. And I think it was a big show, like 12 of us in that show, maybe 13. And it was at the Me Theater in Orlando. And it was just so fun. It was so well put together, so well produced. Like shout out to Aurora Fable and Miss Foxy DeVille. They really know how to produce shows. Like, wow. They give you all the details. Like they are literally the definition of everything is in the email. Like I actually get
Mm.
so afraid to like text them sometimes because I'm like, this is probably in the email. Yeah, it is. Okay. So like they really are. But it was just great. Like it was great to, sit in the audience and watch, I was in the first half, so the second half. But the first half was just such a blur. Like I was trying to get my own photos with everyone backstage. I
Yeah.
was actually trying to like play pretend podcaster and I got like mini interview clips with
Yeah.
people just to be like, hey, what'd you think of your conservatory experience and advice and everything? Um,
I loved that series. It was so cool. I was like,
thank
this is
you.
such a great idea. I need a tiny microphone now.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited. Yeah, I thought I was like bothering people, but they were so patient. Like all the performers were just so wonderful to grow with over it was like a I think 12-week period of us being together. I was sometimes virtual and then sometimes I would go in person and it was just awesome. And I'm in the Burlesque Conservatory 102 right now, so that's what the September performance will be. But I'm working with some of those performers for their show. It's August 24th at the Woodshed in Orlando. So a
Mm.
lot of them are, it's called the Comic Strip Down. It's such
Oh,
a
comic strip down. I like it.
yes. It's DC and Marvel characters. So, you can
Oh,
have your
hell yeah.
Harley Quinn, you're gonna have Hela, Wonder Woman. Oh
Catwoman?
gosh, there
Little
was another.
Catwoman?
Oh yes, no, there is
Little
Catwoman.
Catwoman?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. I will have to send you if they like let me, I'll just send a video of their performance because they literally bought a whip. Like a foot and they've been practicing.
Mm. Oh, good.
So excited. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But yeah, so they're all doing that show and I'm very excited to just kind of like be in the background kind of supporting. So I'm like kittening, but like not kittening, if that makes sense. I'm just
Oh,
happy to
yeah.
be there, to be honest. I'm just happy to be there. Yeah, I could literally like if there was such thing as professional like burlesque hype person, that'd be me.
Mm.
That would be me.
That,
Like
we need that. We need
I
that.
am so bad, but like I like last weekend we went to go see the Sailor Moon burlesque show that was produced by Midnight Fables Cabaret, and let me tell you, that was some top tier burlesque. Top
Oh,
tier.
that makes me so happy.
Like people need to stop shaming nerdlesque because nerdlesque takes you it's like an amusement ride. Like you
Hmm.
are strapped in, you are ready to go. You're about ready to watch these characters come to life and
Hmm.
it's crazy. But let me tell you like when I'm telling you I'm an obnoxious audience member sometimes. Not that I heckle. Like I would never are you kidding me? I would never heckle a burlesque host. Do you know how good
Yeah,
they are at snapping back?
right?
Oh, I
They're
would be
quick.
embarrassed. I would literally walk into my own grave. Like,
Yeah.
no, no. But let's just say a certain performer has been on hiatus for a long time. And at the end of the show, Lita LaRue did Princess Serenity, Sailor Moon. And it was a beautiful, like, lyra act. It was the outfit. I
Wow.
actually started crying because to
Yeah.
me, my inner child was just freaking out and was like, it's my princess, and
Yeah.
it was so beautiful. And all of a sudden, she goes off stage and the lights it just goes pitch black. And everyone's like, oh, okay, what's going on? Is this like a tech issue? Is this like a quick change? Like, what's going on? So lights come back on, and we see another person come out from behind one of the doors. And I'm like, damn, this bitch did a whole costume and wig change in like 20 seconds. Like, how did she do that? And
What?
there's a black veil and everything over this person's face. And so me and the conservatory girls were all sitting next to each other, and the veil lifts, and it was Aurora Fable. When I tell you, I stood my ass up so fast in the cameraman's face. I thought the chair was going to go flying backwards. And I was like screaming and
Yeah.
freaking out, like stomping. Finger is just like I got my stank face. Like I
Yeah.
was just like, this bitch, how could she do this? Like it was, and it was so good. It was so
That's so
good.
cool.
And they kept that a secret. Like I was so
Mm.
shocked. I don't even think they mentioned like special guests in their promos. And all of a sudden I was like, and she did Lady, oh, I'm gonna butcher the name, Helenia, I think, from Sailor Moon. Like it was one of the villain
Oh,
characters.
yeah.
Yeah, which I totally
Oh.
forgot that she like existed until they did like this little projector quick, video of her, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about her. And then here she comes, and I'm like, bitch, what? Like,
That's so cool.
yeah. So
Just a
I'm sorry.
casual legend mic drop,
I
you know?
I was screaming it. Like when you watch those like, those like Vogue Down TikTok videos, that's why I'm not. I have banned myself from going to those balls because I will be at that runway, slapping the shit out of that runway, fan snapping. I mean everything. And they
Yeah.
don't want me there because mm-mm.
They
I have
don't.
banned I ban myself from those because that's what I do at burlesque shows now. Like when you're nasty, oh, like I will,
Yeah.
like I cannot stop myself from doing it. Like I'm sorry. Even if you need like if a burlesque performer could text me and be like, "Hey, I really need like a plant for this show," I will show up so fast. Do whatever you want to me. I don't know, blind me, gag me, whatever. Like I will be
Just
there.
use me, please.
Smack me, throw knives at me. I don't know. Like I will be there. I'm an attention whore, okay? I
Well,
will take it anyway.
hmm.
I know,
If I
right?
go to Florida,
Exactly. I know. You got that whip? Sure. Like I'm like, whatever. I'll try anything once except eggs, because eggs are disgusting. It's a topic for another time.
my gosh. I can agree with you there. I get very sick of them. There was a quote from I forget which show it was, but one of the actresses was like, "Who decided that eggs are a breakfast food? Like breakfast is just constantly eggs, eggs, eggs." And it was like, that's so true.
It literally, anytime my partner cooks it in the apartment, I can't stand it. It literally smells like a sewer backup has happened to me. Like to me, they literally smell like a sewage backup in this apartment. I'm like, don't come near me. Don't breathe on me. Like, I need to go find fresh oxygen outside of this
Fresh
place.
oxygen.
Like,
Ah,
I can't stand it. Like, and they just look nasty. Like, no. The
yeah.
only time they've ever got me with eggs, and I didn't know until it was too late, was when we did a breakfast for dinner, like, game arcade night with our friends, and someone made a quiche, and I'm dumb, and I had no idea what a quiche
Mm.
was. So I had it, but I was like, okay, it's pretty good. I mean, but I could tell there was like, my tongue was like, well, there's like a really rich something in here, but I couldn't place it. So everyone's just watching me like, and I'm like, yeah, wow, this is really good. And they're like, it's got eggs. That's that pungent thing. It's eggs. And I was just like,
Like, no, the cake is a lie.
that's what I mean by that's the only time they've ever got me with eggs was that one time,
Yeah.
but never again,
They hid
ever.
it in a pie.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Well, I definitely won't be bringing eggs if I go to Florida
Thanks.
with you.
Like I love chickens. Like leave them and their eggs alone, damn
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah. So what is your favorite memory of a crowd interaction if you have one?
oh, I don't really have one yet because I mean, I guess if you want to count it as a crowd interaction, I said interaction. Oh my God, where
A
is my brain at
crowd
right now?
interaction.
No, that would be really funny. And so my debut act kind of had an audience plant in it, so I guess that would be my favorite,
Mm,
interaction was my. Oh, actually, this does play really well into the GoFundMe and stuff that I can mention. Sorry, I'm just gonna plug this little guy in here real quick.
yeah.
There we go. Okay, so my debut act, I did not want to be on stage by myself because in all my years of theater experience, I've either been in an ensemble or had a partner on stage. I've never been alone. So the
Mm,
idea of performing by yourself for burlesque was horrifying to me. Just
mm.
absolutely horrifying. Even doing the show and tell for the conservatory, even though I did it virtually, I was shaking, just shaking, 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 shaking. And so I had my friend of, gosh, so many years. Their name is Orion. They were my audience, plant member for the debut. And basically, I had this whole Starfire inspired act. I had this big feathery headpiece. And the headpiece a feather came out. And I kind of used it as like a little like wand. And I was like dancing in the audience where I would find him. And I like pointed the feather at him, but then I pointed it at his wife. And I like kind of, gave it to his wife. and then stole him and brought him on stage into like this
Oh.
chair. And I did this whole chair act with him. I had my leg thrown around his chest. He was taking off my shoes. Like it was, he was, and then I blindfolded him and I'm like rubbing my butt in his face. Not actually. Don't do
Yeah.
that in Florida. It's not legal. But because it's technical. There's some weird blue laws down here, girl. Let me tell you.
Really?
Oh yeah, not as weird as Utah, but
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
we got some weird laws. But it was just, but we kind of, he knew what was going to happen. We discussed all kinds of, consent and things, and but I also had backup choreography in case for some reason he couldn't make it or wasn't feeling well. So like he was such a huge anchor for that act. And so that's kind of my favorite, even though it's kind of a bias given, but so far that's my favorite. But for the classic one that I have next month, I specifically have another audience interaction piece, but it'll be a random,
Mm.
it will not be a plant. And I have a very, like I said, very interactive piece of my outfit that will come into play. Yes, so
Ooh.
I'm very excited, whoever that lucky audience person is going to be.
Lucky audience. Well, if you're in Florida in September, go ahead and plug that show so they know
Mhm.
exactly where to go.
Oh yeah, I will be, I think it's September 23rd, that's Saturday. So 'cause that's good. That's a whole, oh my gosh, that weekend's gonna be all shows. We got Miss Foxy's birthday bash that Friday the 22nd. And then like I said, we have Conservatory one, part one with me on that Saturday and a whole bunch of other amazing. I mean, gosh, we have, if you don't mind me listing them off, we have IB Apocalypse, we got Miss Magenta Magic, Gage Gorgeous, Snowy Phoenix, Ash Patatas, Pretty Guardian. Oh my gosh, like so many performers. And then Sunday night will be like Conservatory Part Two. So get
Oh.
your tickets, y'all, because that's gonna be a huge weekend down there.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, you could be the secret
I know
audience
the
member
secret.
to
Oh, I'm so.
remove a garment.
Oh, I haven't seen anyone do a a costume piece like this before. If
Mm.
if they have, like I said, I haven't seen it. I'm not saying I'm going to own this or I copyright it or whatever, but I just thought it was super interesting. And I'm like trying to rehearse it 1,000 times to make sure it's perfect because
Yeah.
the most awkward part, and in my theater days, I had a costumer. Oh man, I still work with this costumer. She's amazing. Her and I went on a tangent one day about invisible zippers in like
Mm.
dresses and skirts and stuff like that because
Yeah.
she also used to own a burlesque troupe, but I
Oh, wow.
decades ago and I can't remember. It was Dr. Something.
Hmm.
Crap, I should have texted her before this and asked, but it was Dr. Something's like sideshow.
Oh,
And she was like, she was like, Nellie, if you do any big costume removal piece, anything at all, please get an industrial zipper. If I ever
yeah.
catch you with a visible zipper, I will be so mad. And I've seen it happen. I have been at a burlesque show where beautiful performer, amazing black dress, and it was an invisible zipper. And I literally watched it as they turned and it caught on the fabric.
Yep.
And I kind of made eyes with them. They came over to me and we're trying to play it off. And I'm like, I'm grabbing this fabric and I'm trying to, and eventually I was just like, I'm either gonna have to rip it out completely and ruin this dress, and I would feel so bad and buy you another one.
Right.
You're just gonna have to wiggle out of it, hon. And
Yeah.
the host came over and was like, "You're just gonna have to wiggle out of it, sweetie." So
Yeah.
she took her ass and wiggled out, and I have no idea what became of that dress. But that is my worst like nightmare on stage is something catching. Even my boots for my debut performance, I had these like O-rings or whatever they're called on the outside of the zippers of the shoe. So that way I could actually grab them and unzip them instead of the
Mhm.
tiny little zipper
Yep.
thing that you're trying, you know.
Yeah, especially with nails, if you choose to like grow your
Oh
nails or
yeah.
put nails on for performances. Yeah, that makes that like
Hmm.
so impossible. So that's smart,
Hmm.
putting a ring on the zipper for the boots.
Yeah. I recommend it. Any ring on anything that you can find, just do it. Even like corsets, to be honest with you, I just undo just the first button or even just the last button to help you get started before you go on. No one's going to care that that one button is already undone. Just make it
Yeah.
easier on yourself.
Yeah, honestly, honestly, the amount of things that we notice as performers about our performance and our art specifically are usually like only half the things that people in the audience will ever notice. Like it'll be other performers that'll notice, but we're not there for the other like we are
Mm-mm.
there for the other
I mean,
performers,
yeah, but
but we're really there for the audience who's paying
yeah,
the ticket to come see us.
right. And it's not like I'm gonna go hunt that person down and be like, how fucking dare you have that one button of your corset undone?
Right.
No. The
Yeah.
only thing I will ever narc on a performer about is your nails. Like, since you brought it up, I'm sorry. I'm one of those
Let's
purists.
hear it. Let's hear it.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Like, because okay, oh, that's right. So one of the other podcasts I listened to over COVID was the Gen Salt. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're two British performers, Lolo Brow and oh my gosh, I feel like they're gonna roast me because I can't remember the other host's name, but they're amazing. But like, so yeah, and they had a ton of burlesque episodes. And I was listening to them, and they would have like their hot takes and stuff, and they're really funny. Oh my gosh, they're so funny. And they were talking about nails one day, and I was like, I 100% agree. If your nails are not, they don't have to coordinate with the outfit, but if they have to be done. Toenails,
Yeah.
obviously, that's a different story because we're wearing tights or whatever, or
Yeah.
sometimes we don't wear tights. But when it comes to fingernails, because audience members want to be those hands touching your body.
That's very true. Yeah.
Yes, we guide them with our hands. We're going to guide
Mhm.
them to the next object that we're going to take off. We literally take off gloves.
Mhm.
Your nails are not done under
Yeah.
those gloves. I will be mad about it. I won't say anything on the internet because I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
Like, this performer had, bald nails,
Yeah.
bald,
Cancel them.
yeah, not like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's so many people that have hot takes. So I hope mine's not like too controversial, but your nails
No.
have to be done for your performance.
Yeah, even if you just throw like a clear coat on them, it helps so much. There are times where I just put a clear coat on because I'm like, I don't have time for four coats of things,
But
but
they still look glossy and they
yeah.
still look like, oh, like, because you know how you look in the magazine at like different ads, even looking at those hands, they're so trimmed, or I know they're Photoshop, but still
Yeah.
they look nice. So even
Yeah.
with a nice clear coat, it's like, okay, it still looks glossy, still kind of shines in the stage lights. So when you're stroking your face or doing whatever, it still looks appealing. But
Yes.
blank, bald, chip nails, and I'm a nail biter. Like, I've been a nail biter.
Same
I've done
here.
chili oil. Exactly. You
Yep.
know the struggle of the chili
Yep.
oil, the everything. I
Yep.
have to do gel like right now, like every 2, 3, 4 weeks to keep
Mhm.
myself from biting the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a habit I luckily got rid of in the pandemic as I like learned to do my own nails and stuff. And now like I'm at the point where I very rarely, like once in a blue moon, bite them out of pure stress.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that's a great tip for all the baby burlesquers out there.
Hmm.
Make sure you paint your nails and you could do it at home. You don't have to like
Oh yeah.
go and get like acrylic tips and stuff
No, no, no,
if
no.
you don't want to. Like just regular old paint will be just fine.
Oh yeah, don't make the mistake of being like, oh, I'm gonna go get, a coffin nail or like a
Yeah.
acorn almond style nail, and then you can't take off your corset because you're not used to grabbing things like that. Like, don't I've done that. Don't do that mistake. Don't get a length that you're not used to, like a
Yeah.
week before show, and then you're like, I cannot take off my garters now because I you don't have the same grip that you
Yeah.
used to. And actually, speaking of nails, if you don't mind me getting a little like TMI and personal on the podcast, when
Yeah.
when the nail salons closed during COVID, I got like pedicures so often prior to COVID that for the first time I experienced like really painful ingrown toenails because I wasn't
Mm,
going anymore.
yeah.
I had to get, I think it was 5 or 6 ingrown toenails removed over the COVID years.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
because that is how
Ugh.
bad my nails were just not being taken care of, my toenails at
Yeah.
least. And I've never experienced that before, and it is some of the most, like, the shot at least for the what is it, like, the numbness is so painful. I had a great
Yeah.
doctor, but the stuff is so painful. I would never
Yeah.
wish that on my worst enemy. So yeah, for those of you out there that are like, especially the men, you're like, I ain't gonna take care of my nails. When you get that smelly ass fungus, and when your feet start bleeding because they're being torn up by your nail, you will regret this. You will listen to this podcast and be like, I should have listened to that weird, gender fluid queen out there. I should have listened to what they said. You will. And I'm sorry, I keep doing a Southern accent. It's where I came from. I have to make fun of my own people. I'm sorry. Because
It's totally fine.
I can't make fun of New Yorkers. I've been in New York and they really live up to that hype. Like they're scary. I will never
They are scary sometimes.
so and you don't want to catch me doing my New York accent because then all your New York listeners are gonna be like, you will never have that person on your podcast again. How dare they insult the beautiful New York island. I'm sorry. The city. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. I love an accent, honestly. And there's a lot of oh geez, I just lost my thought. Well, I'll think of a new one.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Let's see here. Oh, we covered that. We kind of covered your process of becoming part of the burlesque troupe. Um, yeah, if you have anything to add about how you found the Burlesque Conservatory of Orlando,
Sure.
we can chat about that. And then also, I want to know how you first became interested in cosplay and drag.
Oh, yes, I can. Oh, yeah, the Burlesque Conservatory, that was just all that online resource and diving that I was doing. I mean,
Awesome.
my local library was, I'm sure they're so tired of me, or they were so tired of me, because I would use all kinds of keywords in their
Mm,
search system to get all kinds of books. But yeah,
yeah,
Conservatory just came up in my online research.
nice.
Enrollment was open. I emailed them about doing it virtually because I just live a little far, and they were
Mm,
so like gracious about that. They're like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll do virtual." And I was like, "Yay." And it worked out so well. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, that's how I got involved with that. And even though, and I hope when people listen to this, you don't have to do a conservatory. You don't have to do any formal school. You don't even have to join a troupe. You don't have to do any of that. Like, you don't.
Hmm.
I'm just kind of a whatever gal. I'm like, all right, that came by. Oh, cool. Let me go check that out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very long. I have a very long road. I'm gonna get to that destination, but there's a lot of pit stops I gotta make.
Yeah.
um, so yeah. So even, but if you want to find one in your area, I always recommend it. You know, even going on Facebook, there's so many Facebook burlesque pages. I even joined one for Atlanta. I went there like
Yeah.
once for a burlesque class and I was like, you guys are really cool. And I just started joining a bunch of
Yeah.
Atlanta pages. So, but yeah, so like for example, Atlanta has the it's I think it's Metropolitan Studios and then Atlanta School of Burlesque. And I took a class there by Rula Roulette, who has been around
Yeah.
for an amazingly long time. And that studio is beautiful. They have all kinds of covers of just all the performers of the area, those that have visited. I know they had, I think it was a series with Po Chop, which they're from Chicago. They're a drag
Yes.
queen, but yeah, also I think
Yeah.
they're still doing
Yes.
burlesque. Um, I did hear, I'm not sure if I'm really supposed to say it, but when I was there last time, one of the performers told me that I think it's November, they're supposed to do like another weekender with another really
Mm.
popular burlesque performer that I fangirl about. Oh, so like, but I don't want to say, I don't want to like say in case they like change their mind or
Yeah.
something. Come up in November, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
But Rula Roulette is an amazing teacher. She taught a class called Liquid Motion, which I think,
Yes.
have you heard about that or done it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I did Liquid Motion with Heartless Malone, and then
Oh,
the
okay.
founder of Liquid Motion is actually in my state, Connecticut, just a few
Oh,
towns away. So once I started getting into it, I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
this person is like from here." But yeah, go ahead, continue.
No,
Good Liquid Motion.
isn't it amazing? It totally, totally changed the way. You know, we mostly focus on like floor choreography, but even
Mhm.
then, wow, did it change the way that I did floor choreography and
Yeah.
even moving from floor to wall, wall to floor, because the way that their studio setup is also their show place. So they have like a stage that's actually like 2, 3 feet, I think 4 feet off the
Nice.
ground. Yeah, so you can actually see floor choreography, right?
Yeah.
Because you know how some of these shows are like in bars and stuff, and it's like
Yep.
I don't do floor choreography. No.
Yeah.
Audience members get mad, you know, because they're like, "Well, I can't see it, so I'm not going to tip you."
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
just my experience as being an audience member. I listen to these conversations.
Yeah.
So just a shout out to or like a advice, a tip, whatever to performers.
Mm.
But yeah, so like they can actually do floor choreography on this stage and have it tell a story and people in the audience can see. So it makes sense for a lot of those performers that go there to have a lot of floor routines. So the
Mm.
way that she was teaching it was so wonderful, but it was so challenging because your brain is not used to thinking of your movements that way. So
Yeah.
like she was really like, your limbs are not gonna leave the ground. And I'm like, what do you mean? And
Yeah.
she's like, you trace the ground with your fingertips and your little toe tips. And I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, how am I
Right.
have to move? And she's like, yeah, you're going to like slide this arm under, you're gonna do this arm over your head, and you're gonna turn over. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm gonna look like a little flopping seal lion that, but
Right.
no,
We're all afraid of that.
yeah, or I'm just gonna look at a little hermit crab that's like trying to figure out where its next shell is.
Yeah.
And so one of the girls like took a video of me, and as I was watching it, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
trend that I think that's what or that's her basis was transition and intention in movement. And that
Mm-hmm.
was something that we discussed in the conservatory recently as well, is intention in movement and
Mm.
talking about slowing down, because I think
Yes.
slow burn, I think we've gone way off topic of the question that you asked.
That's all
But
good.
what was the question again? Oh, how did I find conservatory? Oh, and that's right, how to get started in cosplay drag. Well, I'll kind of wrap up with this, is slowing down is so intimidating
Hmm.
because we do want to jump around and we want to do the high action, high pace, numbers and get the crowd really going.
Yeah.
But listen, I will tell you, Misty Rose, again, Orlando, did the traditional, I'm feeling good song,
Oh,
but
yeah.
did not move from one spot on the stage, I swear to God, for like
Oh,
2 or 3 minutes.
I love that.
Because I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, me
It was just
too.
red lights. It was like total blackout. All you saw was their silhouette, and all they moved was their upper body. And it felt like I said, 2 or 3 minutes. And let me
Mm.
tell you, it was so slow and it was so sensual. That is the first and only time I've ever seen a performer get a standing ovation at a show. I mean, as soon as that number ended, the crowd erupted.
Yep. Yep.
So learn your slow movements, learn your slow burn, learn how to hold your muscles and put thought into your dance and transitions. Do not let a movement go without some type of connection. Because
Mm-hmm.
audiences like repetition. We don't know why. As a teacher
Yeah.
once said, we don't know why, but we do. So even if you got to repeat a move in your number, let it go with intention. And
Yeah.
people are going to go, oh my God, when you did that thing, it was like 2 or 3 times. It was just, oh, but it was like so cool. You're going to get that kind of feedback. But anyway, so
Yeah.
how did I get started
That's
in?
great advice. That's really great advice. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, only because I got it from the above. So,
Yeah.
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 So yeah, drag and cosplay. I will straight up say drag was just a ton of RuPaul's Drag Race over COVID. A
Yeah.
ton. Hulu, back when Hulu was actually great and got it before, what was it, Paramount Plus or
Yes.
whatever. Like, just go back to cable, everyone. I don't
Right.
know, go back to cable at this point. So I watched, but I watched the seasons that like the Reddit fandom said I should have watched in order.
Mm,
So I think I started with like, I did like 4, 5, 6,
mm,
and then I think I did 8, 9, 10, or something like that. But
mm.
then I didn't watch any others until season 13 came out and I watched that one live.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes, and the
yeah.
fashion on that.
So good. So good.
So good. Oh my God. Gottmik, Simone,
Yeah.
Denali, like the fashion on that was surreal.
Yeah.
But I was just like, why can't I do that as an AFAB
Mm,
person, even as a
mhm,
gender fluid person? Like, why can't I do drag king and drag queen, or
mhm.
whichever? So I just started experimenting with makeup, at home and watching a ton of videos of people doing it. And I honestly just used the random weird products at home to make faces.
Yep.
Like I mean, none of us had money. It was COVID, but like,
Right.
I was just using drugstore, stuff and just trying to make it work. And I
Yeah.
would just kind of post those, what is it called? Like the time lapses,
Mhm.
of my faces. And I will admit,
Yeah.
trashy drag needs to come back. Like, I
Right.
I love the girls that, can really make themselves look like models and can
Mhm.
really look runway ready.
Yeah.
I'm never going to tear them down, but trashy drag
Yeah.
needs to come back.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to describe my first, couple attempts at drag. I mean,
Mm.
I literally I still have it. I had this horrible pink wig I
Oh
had this,
yes,
yeah,
I remember the pink wig.
horrible. It was pinned straight when I bought it. And you know what? I went to my local beauty supply store to buy that, and it was like $12. And I
Yeah.
know when that girl checked me out, she looked at me, and I know in her face she was like, "Uh-huh, you're gonna ruin that wig." Yeah. Because I was asking all these questions and I was trying to figure it out. And then what did I do? I went home and I went, I'm gonna do it like this anyways.
Yep.
So I did the whole, the rolling, steaming it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I got it to curl, but I didn't know how to maintain it. So it just got bad. Even this wig, questionable. The way I've taken care and treated this wig is questionable. So on
It's
YouTube
hard
can
to
be checked
figure
out.
out though, too, because it's so
Yeah.
different than like real hair. So if you have
Mhm.
like regular hair that you use to style, and then you try to do the same things with plastic hair, it doesn't work so well. So there's
Yeah.
definitely a learning curve there.
My God. This is my first like lace front wig that I bought from another performer, and I've been trying to take
Nice.
care of it because I was so excited. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I didn't understand the hype. I purposely did not buy lace front wigs for years because I was like, I'm gonna prove to you guys that these plastic shitty Party City Amazon wigs can be beautiful. And boy, was I wrong.
Just cut some bangs in. Just cut some
But
bangs in.
and that pink wig had bangs and I destroyed them. I was like, let me try to curl them. Let me try to do this like,
Yeah.
20s like wet set. Incorrect.
Yeah.
Incorrect. So yeah, and I was trying to do this whole like 50s look. I had this like blue Alice in Wonderland looking dress. I had the petticoat. I had these black boots that I glittered. I had these gloves that I rhinestoned. And I actually went with a friend of mine to a LGBT pride event because that was like June of 2022. Yeah. And that was my first time in drag. I had these big,
Yay.
like, like floating red lips. I mean, I'm talking like if we were flooding, baby, I could, I could say, you know, and they were huge. And oh my gosh, the makeup, let me tell you, it was a compliment, but at the same time, I was like, damn it. Someone came up to me at this event and was like, "Oh my gosh, your makeup reminds me of Trixie Mattel." And I mean, I was like complimented, but at the same time, I was like, she cannot trademark the big black wing with the white inner corner. She can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why. So that's where the spike came from. It was like, you can't do this, Trixie. I love you, but you can't trademark. So so I started experimenting with different types of eye shapes and
Mm.
things like that. And the next drag look I did was this horrible Demi Lovato inspired rocker fit. I had the black fur coat. I had the white 7.5 inch pleaser heels on. I had a 22-inch like red wig from a Ezra or
Wow.
Urza Scarlet cosplay I did years ago, and just big, big black and red lips. I think it was black and red lips. Again, I was so obsessed with the big lip. Big lip look does not look good on me. And I took photos of that. I was just doing all like photos at home. I was trying to make my
Mhm.
own sets, and then I did Cruella DeVille. That was kind of like a cosplay drag look. That was so trashy. I had this black like bra on, this like pencil skirt, don't know why. And I had fake cigarettes. I had my
Oh, hell
white
yeah.
fur blanket on the ground that I was like, I had the camera angled above me, and I was trying to take all these like, like I was trying to be Glenn Close, okay? I was trying to be Glenn Close so bad. And I ended up looking like I don't even know. I ended up looking like freaking what's the guy from Back to the Future? That dude.
Oh no,
What's his
Marty.
yeah. Yeah, whatever his name is. Like I was
Or Doc. What's his name?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Which one? Which guy? There's so many
The main
guys.
white, I don't know, the crazy white hair dude, I don't
Oh
know,
yeah, Doc something.
something.
Yeah.
Doc Holiday, who knows? And but yeah, so I just kept experimenting. And then when I got more comfortable in my drag, I started posting drag story times, especially during the holidays. I did like holiday children's books
Mm.
from different religions, Christianity, Judaism. I had a Kwanzaa book set up, but I don't think I posted that one yet. Or I forgot. Oh no, I have to go back and look at my drafts. But that was really what made me happy was being able to read to people on TikTok or Instagram and things like that. So that
Yeah.
was what drag was for me, was to create those, videos, and it kept me busy and instead of going
Mm.
stir crazy from my day
Yeah.
job. And well, also one of my favorites was doing Patty Stone from oh my gosh, I just lost the show. I'm like really bad at this today. I'll have to look it up. But Patty Stone is a character on this British television show that people, I can already feel the comments coming in. Like, how do you not remember what show Patty Stone is on?
It's hard to remember all these names of things, especially when you're trying to like pull it out of thin air
Not
when you
Patty
need
Stone.
it.
Was it Patsy Stone? Oh Lord, I can feel it happening already. Yeah, Patsy. I'm sorry, Patsy Stone. I'm not
Patsy
Patty Stone.
Stone.
Absolutely fabulous. That I'm sorry. I had to take a moment to look that up.
No worries. Yeah.
Um, but that was like a big TikTok trend was posting these, or at least on my not trend, what is it, algorithm. The
Mm,
algorithm for me one time was just showing me all these absolutely fabulous, clips and this
mm,
character, Patsy Stone. And I had a blonde wig from another performer that I was teasing into this giant beehive updo, like
mm,
my Ema, like bless her soul, I miss her so much. But
mm.
she had the exact type of hair as this Patsy Stone character. So I did drag as her one day and I recorded all these clips of me with the cigarettes, the vodka, everything, and doing the voiceovers. And I was showing a couple family members and like a director I work with, and I was showing her one day, and she was like, "Oh my God, you really look like Patsy Stone." So I'm like, "That's it. If I ever get on RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm doing Patsy Stone for Snatch Game," because everyone was just like, "Wow, like you're like a you're really accurate, but like a really young, accurate Patsy Stone." And I'm like, "I'll take it.
Aw,
I'll take
yeah.
it."
What a
So
compliment.
right? And then cosplay, I got started because in college I was working at a video game place, and
Mm,
I just knew a bunch of nerds, a bunch of geeks,
nice. Yeah.
and there was an anime convention happening in town. I've never cosplayed before, and they were like, "Hey, we want to do a fairy tale cosplay group. Fairy Tale,
Mm.
the anime. It's like as long as One Piece."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was so invested in that show at that time. This was like 2015, I think,
Mm.
2014. And so I dressed up as Urza Scarlet. And of course, we had, oh, I don't remember their names. What was his name? Shadow or something? It was, the one that like
Yeah.
never wears a shirt. We had him. We had a couple, characters. And my mom bought these red sweatpants and helped me like paint flames on them for the and then I had like a strapless bra, and then she helped me gauze over my boobs and all this other stuff. And I had this like fake sword. Like I thought we were so cool walking into a convention. And as a quick thing, cosplay does not mean consent. And the reason
Yes.
why, because it partakes of the story. Unfortunately, I had my first public groping experience in this outfit
Shit.
as we were walking down one of the hallways, and
Mm.
a kid just came up and literally underscooped my
Ugh.
my outfit. And the guy I was with at the time, I mean, not like with, we weren't like dating. He was like the playing one of the characters, flipped out and like chased this kid down, gave him, I mean, he was a young kid though. We're talking like maybe 12, 13, and
Wow.
kind of gave him like a stern talking
Yeah.
to and like trying to find his parents. So, but that was
Wow.
the first time I've ever experienced that in a public setting. And it was, so I didn't do cosplay for a while because of that.
Yeah, of
And
course.
yeah, but when Moon Knight came around, Moon Knight was really special to me
Mm.
and is such a badass like in the comics. And I was so excited that Oscar Isaac and them were doing the show.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really too impressed by a lot of shows Disney Plus was doing. I'm still not impressed, but we won't go into that controversial opinion because then I know you guys are Star Killer based and the Star Wars fan is just gonna eat us alive. So I'm so so
I just slowly start morphing into Kylo Ren, like,
yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, it's not all of them. I promise you, it's not all of them. I'm sorry. Because I'm also, me and my partner are huge fans of Star Wars, so it's like,
yeah,
I'm sorry. I have opinions. Um, but
yeah.
uh, so when Midnight came around, I just said it. I was like, you know what? I have the funds. I have the time. I'm gonna make this outfit. Will it
Mm.
be the Dollar General version? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But you know what? We're gonna make this outfit. So fast
Yeah.
forward to approximately 36 hours and over $400 later, I made my Moon Knight cosplay for MegCon of 2022 or whatever.
Wow.
And I was actually really shocked at the reactions I did get from people because I was nervous that people were gonna make fun of it, or whatever. But no, I was really shocked at how many people were just like, "Oh, can I get your photo? This is so cool."
Yeah.
And there weren't a lot of Moon Knight cosplayers at the time, which I also thought was shocking. Like I think
Mm.
I met like four others out of the, 70,000 people that were there.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, okay, okay.
That's so
And
cool.
I learned so much about cosplay in that moment, the hundreds of
Mm.
hours of YouTube videos that I was watching to understand contact cement and how to make the mask and do this stuff. It was That's why it took like 36 hours because you got to wait for shit to dry and then you got to
Yep.
reprime it. And so yeah, so I did cosplay, and now that kind of infuses into my burlesque, not like so hardcore.
Mhm.
Like for example, the first ever burlesque outfit I made, it's on my Instagram, is a Sailor Venus inspired outfit. So it started out with the Sailor Venus blueprint. But since the number is kind of more with, belly dance and silk fan dancing, I had to tailor it to kind of fit that. So I still have like the Sailor Venus crown. I still very much have a lot of the orange and the white. I
Mm.
have, heart jewelry, red gloves, red heels, things like that. But it is not noticeably Sailor Venus.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I kind of that's how I combine the two worlds. Even with,
So
oh,
cool.
yesterday, even I did Lady Jessica of Dune. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No
Um,
worries.
but when those photos come out, again, it's not a full on accurate
Yeah.
representation of the character. It is my interpretation as a character, as a burlesque performer. So,
Yeah. That's so
yeah.
cool. I love that. Yeah, I'm sorry you had that bad experience, but I'm glad that you eventually went back and kind of rewrote that history for yourself, make a new,
Mhm.
better memory of a
Yeah,
con. Yeah. Oh, so cool. I gotta go to your Instagram and like look
that's fine.
for the
Yeah,
Moon
yeah.
Knight
Oh,
pictures.
girl, it is way down there. I have buried that now.
I'll be like scrolling, like my eyes are all bloodshot, and I'm still scrolling.
It's okay. You can laugh about it now. You can post that on your page and be like, "Here's my next guest," and everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
It's Moon Knight.
They're like, "What is that supposed to be? Like Ratatouille in a knight armor? Like, what is that?"
Oh
Like,
no. That would actually be pretty cool. Ratatouille Knight. Hell yeah.
okay, listen. Like, I saw weird cosplays there. There were people cosplaying Hunter S. Thompson,
Oh
like which is a weird
wow.
thing in Las Vegas. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And there was those creatures from the Muppets. Not creature. He's like one of the scientists, but he only talks in like
Oh, Beaker.
beaker. There was like a
Yeah.
ton of beakers for some reason. Like
So weird.
so like there probably is a someone cosplay Ratatouille as a knight somewhere.
Right? He's got like a piece of pasta as a sword or something.
Oh God. And the guy is like the horse or something. Like
Yeah.
what's his name? Linguini or whatever his name
Yeah.
was. He's dressed as like a horse.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, final two questions for Miss Nellie Void.
Mhm.
What do you wish you knew when you started your burlesque journey?
Oh my goodness, what did I wish I knew? Ooh, yeah, that is a really good one because I'm I'm a September Virgo, so I'm a hardcore perfectionist.
Mm,
So like even again, quote unquote, before like starting in burlesque, like I felt like I had to know everything before I even step foot on stage. So
mhm,
that sounded really pompous, but but let me see. What did I what can I go back and tell myself? Um Oh, I guess like in a way, don't like simplify yourself. I know this sounds weird, but I wanted to do so many shows and like really get myself out there. I applied to so many troops, even like festivals and and all this other
mm,
stuff. And I did get accepted to quite a few shows, but then recently I had to pull out because I had physical stress, mental stress,
mm,
and take a step away from work and things.
mm,
And I felt awful having to reach out to those producers and just be like, I can't do this show, I can't do this show, I can't do this show. So just simplifying that,
mm,
simplifying just approaching choreography. Even like my debut number, I'm still like, man, I should have like slowed down and really like stuck to that. I should have
mm,
played with that movement a little bit longer. So like really, even like costumes, like I was the first costume I ever made, I went so hardcore into stoning a corset,
Mm.
just so hardcore. I went way.
Yeah.
It's on there. From afar. That's how it is I feel like with Dragon Burlesque. From afar, everyone's like, "Ooh, oh, dazzle, dazzle." But then you come up to us close, and you see the harsh contour, and then you see the thousands of E6000 glue marks that dried over here, and then
Yeah.
the tag that you were supposed to cut off your clothes that you didn't. Like, so that corset is gorgeous from afar, but when you
Yeah.
get close, wow, is it a thing of nightmares? Simplifying the costume. That's what I'm
Hmm.
really trying to focus on from the next one that I really taken to heart and that I've taken very seriously is just trying to be simple. Even
Mm.
getting even just a few appliques, just hand sew them on. You don't
Yeah.
have to rhinestone every. That was what I did. Panties, rhinestone, bra, rhinestone, pasties, rhinestone. Like I was
Yeah.
thousands of rhinestones, glues, everything. Cancer in my body is happy to be there because of this
Right.
E6000 I've been huffed over the
Yeah. Yeah. The glue is so toxic, but it's like one of the only things that works.
I know. Wear a mask, use a fan in an enclosed space with E6000 people. Please don't do what
Yes.
I did for the first couple times and have it right in my face while I'm rhinestoning my
Right.
first ever
Like,
heels. And I'm like, hey, mom, hey, dad, I feel really weird, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Like, I
Yeah.
should have told myself that when I first, started.
Yeah. Yeah. We could burlesqueify that and make it keep it simple, sexy.
Keep it
Yeah.
simple. Keep it simple. Showgirl or show guy or show
Yeah.
person. Like, ooh, I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm trying not to call myself stupid so much recently. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
that's
We
why I
have to
picked up
fix
on it.
our self language. I have
Yeah.
friends that when I'm like, man, I'm such an idiot, they're like, hey, don't be mean to my friend. And then I'm like,
Right?
okay,
Like,
you know.
all right, I guess I won't. Yeah.
Because then now you're ashamed for shaming yourself. So it's like, does it
Yeah.
cancel out now because you got too shamed?
Right. If only it worked that way.
Oh,
What projects are you excited for, and what do you want to plug for the future?
oh yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, like I said, the comic strip down is next week, but it'd probably be past by the time the podcast comes out. That's okay. But yeah, the comic strip down, and then in September, oh my gosh. Well yeah, like I said, that big weekend of burlesque shows in Orlando with Miss
Mhm.
Foxy's birthday bash, and then the conservatory nights 1 and 2. Oh, actually, September 30th. Yes, Phantasm. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Phantasm Orlando. I'll be performing with the Theoretical Rejects. So that's
Yeah.
like Lottie Flick and Melody Martini and all of them for Phantasm Orlando. I've never been to the convention, so I'm very excited.
Yeah.
But it's all going to be, horror movie icons and legends and the
Cool.
performance. And I won't say who I have chosen, but let's just say I'm not a horror movie fan. I'm a fan of older ones. So like
Mhm.
Friday the 13th was like the first one I've ever watched. So
Oh,
like Jason always has a special
yeah.
thing in my heart. I still haven't seen Scream though, because I need to have someone with
Ah.
me to watch these movies who
Yeah,
wants.
gotcha.
So this character I've chosen is a little bit of a newer horror movie character. And when I was reading like the plot of the movie, I was like, this is so fucked up. I'm gonna do it. Like
Mm.
I can make this burlesque. I can totally make this burlesque. This is so campy. That's what I'll say. It's really campy. Like it is a campy
Mm.
character. It is it's gonna be atrocious in the best way possible. Like trashy drag is coming back, bitches. Like
Yay!
yeah.
That's so awesome. So yes, if you're in the Florida area or traveling through in the next month, there are multiple ways that you can see the wonderful Nellie Void and other fantastic Florida performers perform. And make sure you support your local drag and burlesque artists, especially in these states where things are happening that aren't so great, because this is an art form that saves a lot of people's lives, mine included. And we need to make sure that we have these spaces for people to display their art. Um, so yes, definitely check out Nellie Void live in September and August and beyond. And if people want to follow you on Instagram or TikTok, where can they do that? What's your handle?
Oh, yes. I'm mostly doing Instagram and TikTok right now. So it's at Nellie Void, and that is Nellie, not Nelly like the rapper, which I get all the time. Nelly like the rapper, even at like some restaurants or like,
Yeah.
you get your coffee to go and they're like, oh, Nelly like the rapper? Sure, bud. Um, so Nelly and then Void, Void. So yeah, like Dita the
Perfect.
Void, which I was so afraid for the longest time was going to message me on Instagram and be like, you need to change your name. What are you doing? But no, it's fine. So Nelly Void. Yep.
Good. Yay. All right. Yeah, that's all the time we have for today. But again, I would love to extend an invitation for you to come back. And also there will be a few links in the description, including Nellie's social media links, of course. And there's also going to be a special GoFundMe link down there for two beautiful people
Yeah.
who are trans and trying to
Mhm.
escape the tyranny of Florida,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh yeah, I
Would you
went on a
like to
whole
explain
tangent.
more?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like describing that debut performance with, Orion and his wife, and I totally forgot to mention the GoFundMe. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
no
Forgive me,
worries.
Orion. But yeah, so that was what going back to that tangent. Yes, so Ryan and his wife are trying to, of course, leave Florida, going back to hopefully Illinois, which is a very trans friendly state, I've heard. And they've banned books on book bans, I think is how you phrase it, which is
Wow.
awesome. So go them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're really trying to help them. They've gone through a lot. You can read their story on the GoFundMe, but yeah, we that was partially why I wanted to have them in the performance as well, because I did contribute some of my funds to them after that to get them started. Because I was like, it's either get out of Florida or even if you want your top surgery, dude, like get your top surgery. But I'm like, we need to get you out of here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so definitely if that story resonates or you'd like to check out more, please look in the description and look for that GoFundMe link. We'll make sure to put it at the very top
I
so
appreciate
it's
it.
easy to
Yes.
find. All right. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today, Nellie. This has been so much fun. I'm so excited to kind of digest all these nuggets about your story.
Mhm.
And I loved our time together and the tips that you gave people for sure. And the last thing that I wanted to do was just let you know that your last sentence in your bio, and
Mhm.
I'll read it out for everyone. Nellie Void is Florida's gender fluid glamour gnat because they are here to remind you that we say gay and the gender binary is null and void. And even just like reading that, it makes me really emotional. But when you sent
Oh,
that to me yesterday and I was kind of compiling all this stuff, I read that, I got chills. I sat back in my chair and was like, fuck yeah. So I just want to tell you that that sentence is incredible and it's definitely
oh,
very powerful. So thank you for putting that in because it's fantastic. It's like
oh,
what
it
a
means
rebel.
something. Oh my gosh. I thank you because I was so nervous as that being my tagline because it is
Yeah.
unfortunately a pretty big political statement now in
Yeah.
Florida. And I was just like, I really like how this goes with my whole name, my whole persona. So I've been so nervous about it, but I've been pushing it out there anyways. So having that response is so lovely. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yay, good. Yeah. Yeah, for real. Even like reading it out, I'm still getting chills and stuff. So always a good reminder that gay is a word and we can say it everywhere
Mhm.
because we have freedom of speech. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, for making that statement and just being your wonderful, awesome self. This was so
Thank you.
fun.
Oh my gosh. And here I was thinking that this was going to be like your shortest episode because I was like, well, I don't know if I really have much to contribute, but
Oh, what? Yeah, yeah, you had so much that like we had to skip questions and we'll have to do
oh,
a
I'm so
part two.
sorry. Ah,
No,
oh, okay.
no, don't take that sorry back.
Ah,
Don't say sorry at all because it was all like really cool to listen to. And
oh,
yeah,
yay.
this is so much fun.
Oh, good.
So I'll
Hopefully it
stop the
wasn't boring.
recording now
Okay.
for the podcast people, but we can stay on for a
Oh,
couple
awesome.
minutes and chat. But
Mhm.
thank you everyone for tuning in on
Yes.
Spotify and YouTube and everywhere else beyond. And make sure to check out Nellie Void via the links below, along with the GoFundMe for our two friends in Florida.
Mhm.
Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.